Welcome to another Bedtime and Beyond Learning Kit video. This time we'll be talking about your Braille Learning Kit. So it's a learning kit inside of the learning kit, but it was actually outside because it didn't fit in the big box. This is, I'm holding the white shoebox and it has the insides of our Braille Learning Kit. Let's dig in. First thing I find is a card holder, and inside that card are Braille flashcards. And these are special Braille flashcards. These are letter and number flashcards. These also may look a little different because they only have, each card only has one letter on it. And there's a sticker on the top that tells you which letter it is. But it also has some dashes before and dashes after on that sticker. And it has some straight lines before and straight lines after in the Braille. That is, we call those lead in and lead out lines. And that helps us learn to read across the whole way. If we just kind of point at a letter, it doesn't help us learn the Braille as much. And you'll see that there's a space on either side of the lines, and that's to let our brains know, oh, okay, here comes a letter. And, oh, okay, the letter's gone. But the lines are just to help us track across left to right our Braille so we can read our Braille like big kids. Next, you'll find, well, actually at the bottom, you'll find two mats. These are non-slip mats. One is light colored, one is dark colored. These are great for putting Braille cards on when we're reading, or anytime when something might slip away. We do want to read Braille with a light touch, but kids are kids, and they're not always going to read with a light touch, and that's okay. The mat helps keep the card in one place, and they're going to learn more technique later. The key is we want to get those fingers feeling things, and we want them to go all the way across. And that's what the non-slip mats can be really helpful for. These also, you can use them for some of the activities. Even if they get dirty, it's not a problem. You could, if you need to, you could sponge them off a little bit, dry them off. They're perfect. They're great. I really love them. I use them a lot with my students. Next, we have some egg cartons and ping pong balls. With these egg cartons and ping pong balls, we can make any word we want. Well, not any word, any letter or number we want to, and several of them. We have 4 of one kind. Most of these will be cardboard. Some people have 4 styrofoam and 2 cardboard. This one has 4 cardboard and 2 styrofoam, and there's a reason for that. There are some special signs in Braille, and you'll read that more in your manual, and your early intervention specialists and service providers can also support you in this. And those special signs change what the Braille is. Those signs that we're going to be looking at are capital indicator and a number indicator. Here's a game I loved playing with one of my students. I'm going to use the first letter of my name, which is C, and I'm going to make a C. Boom, boom. So I took a cardboard egg carton and I'm holding it with holding it in such a way that I have 2 cells, 2 egg holes on the top and 3 going down. And we make Braille using a cell that looks just like this. That's why it's a great learning tool. At the top left is dot 1, middle left is dot 2, bottom left is dot 3, top right is dot 4, middle right is dot 5, bottom right is dot 6. The letter C is made with the dots 1 and 4, so it's 2 at the top. Well, that's the letter C, as in cat. But my name's Carlton, so I want to make a Carlton. Well, now I need a capital indicator. And the capital indicator is made by putting just 1 dot in cell 6, all the way at the bottom right. So this is the game I would play with my students. Make a C, make it capital. And he would throw up or he'd pull, and it was on his desk, he'd pull up the capital indicator, capital C, lowercase c, boom, he pulled it away. Capital C, put it back beside. So it's going to be a really fun game. The other special sign is called the number indicator. there are two kinds of numbers that our children learn. Yeah, they don't have enough to do. We're going to make them one or two kinds of numbers, but it's no problem. A little bit like Roman numerals and our Arabic numerals, not exactly, but some like Roman numerals, what we call literary numbers, use the same use letters to represent the number. That can be a little tricky because students sometimes will start counting out the letters of the alphabet when they see a cell instead of actually learning it as a number. So I like to start with something called Nemeth numbers. Let me first show you the literary, but you'll see why I think you'll see why I like the the Nemeth numbers, which are more like our Arabic numerals. They're just what they are. I have my C now, and I did have my dot sits make capital C, lowercase c, capital C, lowercase c. Now, when I put the number indicator cell up, it becomes the number 3. And how do we know this? A is 1, B is 2, 3 is C. C is 3. So that's how that works. These are literary numbers. These are numbers that we would read in books, in storybooks. These are also used in recipes. But the number that we use for math is called a Nemeth number. And again, I think it's easier to learn Nemeth first. And let me show you why. Because if I pull up my capital indicator cell and make it a capital C, lowercase c, and then pull up my number indicator cell and make it number 3, letter C, number 3, it's easy to get confused. With Nemeth, our letters drop down 1. They're called drop numbers. So my dot 1 of my C goes into dot 2, dot 4 of my C goes into dot 5. So now my letter C is, I'm holding up a cell in dots 1 and 4. That's my letter C. And then my number 3 is dots 2 and 4. I'm holding I have those dots 1 and 4 empty. And now I have a number C. I'm number 3. And so that's our Nemeth number. Let me make one a little bit trickier. I think that it will really help illustrate the way it can be confusing. I'm going to go to G for good, for great. And G has a few more dots. G is dots 1, 2, 5. I'm sorry, 1, 2, 5, 4, and 5. So I have letter G, and then I'm going to bring my capital indicator cell up. Capital G, lowercase g, capital G. Number-wise, G is number 7. And again, this is my concern. Number A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, E is 5, F is 6, G is 7. I don't want them to think of that. I want them to say, oh, that's just 7. So instead of starting with my G, I'm going to start with my Nemeth G. And that's going to be dots 2, 3, 5, 6. So I'm going to pull up my number indicator cell, number 7. And they stay together. They really hang out. Number 7. The reason I like to have the capital and letter indicators in a different texture is so that they can really start understanding that this is a special sign. It's not part of a number or a letter. These different textures can also be used for punctuation, anything you want, but or even just extra cells. But that's the reason why we have both cardboard and styrofoam egg cartons. The last thing you'll find in your Braille kit, the Braille Learning Kit, is this material called Sculpt It. It is a kind of sculpting clay that is used in art found in art supply stores and such. And it essentially a little bit like a fidget, but it's a way for our kids to build some finger strength. It's not that they need more finger strength than a child their age, but a lot of our kids don't have the opportunity to interact with things as much. They might not see that there's acorns over there to run and grab them. So we want to encourage them to do that too, but it's great to give them some authentic opportunities to play. This clay, I will tell you, when you open it, once it hits the air, it will dry as it is. So we only have 2 of them. So we'll want to play with some other things like our scented Play-Doh from our family learning kit. This is another great way to just play and squish it together and have a great time. But if we want to, once we start wanting to make our art, we have this special clay. Again, it's called Sculpt It. It's non-toxic, but don't want to eat it. But it's a great thing to just play with. We can learn to roll. I am putting the Sculpt It on my desk, and I have my hand horizontal, and I'm rolling it like my hand is a rolling pin. That's another great way to add some vocabulary for our children. Rolling pin. They might not have heard that before. We can maybe find a rolling pin in our kitchens or in a play set or at a thrift store, wherever, just so we can have some different ideas about what to do with these wonderful things. I am not much of an artist, so I don't think that I'm going to make anything. I'm not really proud of my artistic abilities. But actually, why don't I do this? In honor of one of our books, The Snowy Day, I think I can probably make a snowman. I think I may have that much skill. So I'm breaking my sculpted into 3 sizes, 3 balls of different sizes. And I rolled the balls in my palms. So I have the largest ball on the bottom, medium-sized ball on top now, and then on top of that medium-sized ball, I have my small ball, and I'm kind of smushing them together because I have a smush snowman. Again, this is a fun activity to bring our books to life with with different activities, whether we have snow this winter or not. Hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you have a great, great time learning Braille with your child. Great day. Bye-bye.